Is there an obligation or a mitzvah to have a special meal on Rosh Chodesh, the first day or the beginning of each new Jewish month? So it says in Shulchan Aruch that it is a mitzvah to have something extra in the honor of Rosh Chodesh, the beginning of the new month. The reason for this is that Rosh Chodesh, the first day of the new month, is regarded as, to some extent, a festival. The Torah calls it a festival. It's obviously not on the same level as Shabbat and Yom Tov. However, it is called a festival, and just like we honor festivals with special food, so too Rosh Chodesh. It's not quite the same level, as we will soon see, but it is a mitzvah. In other words, it's commendable. It's not, if maybe not an obligation, but it is certainly a proper and a commendable thing to do for a person to have something extra for Rosh Chodesh. We find in the prophets that they would make a special meal on Rosh Chodesh, and we also find the statement of our sages that a person's income is determined for him from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah, except for the amount of money that he spends in honor of mitzvot, like the money he spends in honor of Shabbat or Yom Tov. And it says also the amount of money that a person spends to honor Rosh Chodesh is also, it comes out if a person spends extra money, Hashem will give him extra in his yearly allotment of income. So therefore we see that it is a mitzvah, it is a commendable thing to do, to eat extra on Rosh Chodesh in honor of Rosh Chodesh. It's not an obligation to eat bread. In this respect, it's less than Shabbat and Yom Tov and Shabbat. It's a mitzvah to eat bread at the meal. On Rosh Chodesh, it's not. However, it is commendable to eat bread at the meal that you're having in honor of Rosh Chodesh, but it's not an obligation. As a result, the special addition that we say in Birkat HaMazon, in the grace after meals on Rosh Chodesh, if a person forgot to say it, he does not have to repeat the Birkat HaMazon, the grace after meals, because one has to only repeat the additions in the Birkat HaMazon, the grace after meals, where eating bread is obligatory on that day, like it is on Shabbat or Yom Tov. But since on Rosh Chodesh it's only a good thing to do, but it's not obligatory, if one forgets to say the additional part in the Birkat HaMazon, he does not have to repeat the Birkat HaMazon, the grace after meals. It's mentioned in halacha that people who are careful about mitzvot, when they're preparing something for Rosh Chodesh, they actually make an additional dish at the meal. This is to show that it's not like the regular meal, and they're doing something which distinguishes this meal from other meals. So it is a mitzvah, again, not an obligation, but a mitzvah to prepare something additional that you don't normally have in honor of Rosh Chodesh. If Rosh Chodesh comes out on Shabbat, then you're having a special meal because of Shabbat. It's mentioned that one should actually make an additional dish or an additional serving of something to show that this is also Rosh Chodesh. Again, not an obligation, but it is a good thing to do. This obligation to have, or this mitzvah rather, to have something special on Rosh Chodesh is during the daytime of Rosh Chodesh, but not at night time of Rosh Chodesh. This is because the new month is only declared during the day, not declared at night. So the special mitzvot that we have for Rosh Chodesh are more strict on the daytime rather than the nighttime. So one's not obligated to have something extra on the night of Rosh Chodesh, only during the day. If it's 2 days of Rosh Chodesh, sometimes some months of the Jewish calendar, sometimes there's in any given month there's only 1 day of Rosh Chodesh, sometimes there are 2 days of Rosh Chodesh. In occasions where there are 2 days of Rosh Chodesh, it's a mitzvah to have something extra on both days. I saw, in addition to this, there's an opinion that says that since the purpose of this whole mitzvah is to show that Rosh Chodesh is special, that one should eat the meal at the Shabbat table rather than, let's say, in the kitchen. I don't know if this is the widely held custom, but it is mentioned that since the purpose of having something extra on Rosh Chodesh is to distinguish and honor the day, one should also eat it in a place where one eats an important meal. So if people normally eat their Shabbat meal at the Shabbat table rather than the kitchen table, so some want to say one should do the same thing for Rosh Chodesh. I don't know if this is the universally observed custom, but it is mentioned. So this is the mitzvah of having something extra on Rosh Chodesh.